Hi everybody and big welcome to cEDH TV gameplay. This time me, Pontus and Rhetoric, joined by Snuske.
Hello.
Alright, so my version of Pirate Metal or Grixis Dark Malcolm is out to sea at the moment. I'm going to work on it a little bit. So for now I'm going to play Hans List. Again, just typical Grixis package. We have some things like Peering to the Abyss and Business Mastery, which will make it interesting as well. Italian and all the other combos you can expect in Grixis.
So I'm playing Stella Lee. I haven't played it yet. This is Elder Drunken Highlander Josh's list. He has made a deck tech video right here where he goes through some of the main lines. The deck has changed since he made the video, more streamlined. It's basically infinite copies of spells deck. So you're gonna see some cards you're maybe not used to, like the cantrips that just untap something and draws a card. And then one of the coolest win lines I've ever seen in the deck, sorcery for 3 mana, Twisted Fealty, where your win con is basically putting a roll into the graveyard infinitely until your opponents die, which is very cool. So I'm looking forward to playing it and see how badly I mess up.
So today I'm playing Dargo and Mr. Commander. Basically I got away with playing Dargo in the 9-9 last time, so I'm seeing if Mons will notice me playing Dargo in the command zone this time. But yeah, this is the good old stuff. This is Mardu Dargo, and we're aiming to storm off using a couple of different Dargo spells. Still trying out Rakdos. No, not Rakdos. I think it's actually pretty good, but let's see if we get there.
I am playing the cutest thing in the entire world, Loot, the key to everything. It's a Tamer value engine commander, more or less. That is more or less kind of just drawing cards in general and then figuring out some ways to win the game with Tamer stuff in general. Like Dockside and Tamer Sabertooth. You have to draw your entire deck with Thrasius though, so Loot can't do that. But you also have things like Underworld Breach, Lions of Diamond and Brain Freeze. And Dual Cost the Mage and Twin Flame as well. So this opening hand is golden and I hate it. I hate it because I really want to play my commander. I really want to test out this loot thing. I want to see how it flies. But my opening hand contains one colored mana source and then a mana crypt and a heuristic study. So we have to keep this. And we also have intuition, Flusterstorm. Yeah, we can find the breach eventually with this. We have protection with Flusterstorm. But most importantly, we have a turn 1 heuristic study from the starting player position. Like, that's a dream come true. So there's a chance we might not see much action from the actual commander. But I think unless someone is forcing my heuristic study, we're gonna have a great game. If someone is forcing my heuristic study, we could be stuck considering the amount of non-existing land pips. But still, I'm definitely going to keep this hand.
So lately I've been really liking Goblin Welder starter hands, because you can usually just like turn 1 Welder and then turn 2 or turn 3 Engineer, either tutoring for it or whatever. But this hand just doesn't do that. We have 1 land, we have Goblin Welder, we have no other enablers. We have a Lotho, which is pretty good, but not the mana to get to Lotho, and if we get to Lotho, it's earliest turn 2. We do have Rakdos, which is a card I really want to try when we wheel, so we do have some good stuff, but we really lack the mana here. Cabal Ritual is nice, but it doesn't actually help us to get to anything. So yeah, this is just a mulligan, but just like a Chrome Mox in this hand would actually be pretty good. But yeah, we don't have that, so let's mull. So this hand is just really good. We do have some issues here. This hand is, as you can see, very Dockside reliant. Or, it's not that Dockside reliant, but it's pretty much just a Dockside hand. If Dockside makes 4, I think, we just have Dockside Dargo, Reanimate, Magda, Citadel, turn 2. That's really good. Of course, we're kind of weak to counterspells on our Reanimate, unless Dockside is just fed. We need to have Dockside on 4 on turn 2. We only have 1 green deck, and that's a Teamer deck, which usually are like kind of split between artifacts and creatures. Mons tends to just do land dork hands in Teamer. So there's just 2 players to feed my Dockside, but it's a Grixis deck and there is a deck, so I could assume that they're at least gonna do 1 Dockside thingy. And 1 Dockside thingy with turn 1 mana vault is actually decent. Like, we can just Wishclaw from that, and then we have later turns Dargo, Magda, Reanimate. So yeah, this is just a pretty good hand. It's a really high ceiling and the floor is decent. It's not great, but it's fine. So let's keep this.
We have to keep in mind that Pontus is here with his Dargo Tymna, so we might need some early interaction. We found the Twisted Fealty. If we can couple that together with something, that would be great, but no lands, just the Chrome Mox. That's not going to do it, so we're going to go to second 7. This has a Mystic Remora. That feels good, but it really has absolutely nothing else. So that's a tough one. Do we keep a Mystic Remora and just hope to get there eventually and draw some cards? It's like Dramatic Reversal is, with some rocks, infinite mana with Stella. We don't really have an outlet. We're also going 3rd, but the Grixis deck is going right after us. 2 blue decks. I mean, we could... Let's think about it. Shadow Skull Smashing can also be used to kill off something important. It is a really slow hand, but if the Mystic Remora pays off, then it just... No, we're going to go to 6. Let's try to look for a more explosive hand than just fish and lands. This looks better. It's a turn 2 Stella, but we have to keep in mind that whole try to cast 3 spells and then look for something. Expedite doesn't really do what we want it to do. It does give her haste. It's kind of what we want, but I think that might be what we're bottoming. So we need the second land, and then we can do Mox Amber into Mana Vault. Yeah, Mox Amber into something. I'll probably just Mox Amber on its own after Stella on turn 2, just to get card exiled and then go from there. And I think we're probably bottoming the Expedite. Might need the Rite of Flame for something else, and the Chain of Vapor lets us reset to cast the spells that we need to cast. Because I don't think we're going to get there on the same turn that we're casting Stella. I mean, we actually might, simply because of the Rite of Flame. It's like Stella, cast Mox Amber, cast Expedite, cast Rite of Flame, and then cast Expedite, and then she has haste. That means we're bottoming the Chain of Vapor. I mean, yeah, if we do draw what we need to draw, then that just gets there on turn 2. So I think we just go for that. Worst case, Expedite is just a draw. I'm wondering if my thought process is correct, but I'm pretty sure Josh will tell me. Let's find out. I'm bottoming the Chain of Vapor and keeping the 6.
You know what? I'm going to live on the edge. Because I'm 4th, and these guys are likely... They're actually, everybody... We have 2 players who are playing blue. I could throw down Mana Crypt. If there's a land here, which I haven't looked at, I could be okay. But, like, I have almost everything I want out of this. Enough mana to throw down... Well, I guess not. I don't know. This is so debatable, folks. I mean, like, it is... I guess it is a bad game. There's, like, Mana Crypt. There's Dockside, Fell Warstone. It feels really terrible to not have a land in this, but looking at everything else, it's so sweet. So I don't know. No, I feel like there's some hope that comes with it. Like if they don't play anything blue, I'm screwed. So I think I almost talked myself into it, but we're gonna change it. All right, so this is better. When I'm looking at this, I could get Dockside on turn 1. Could do Wheel of Misfortune as well. Not on turn 1, but I could still potentially get Malcolm out on turn 2, which isn't bad. But if they're throwing out a bunch of rocks, and we know that Pontus' deck likes to do that, especially on turn 1, I think I could do some pretty gnarly stuff on this turn, and even really not worry about throwing down Malcolm at this point. So I'm going to keep the second 7, and let's get the game started.
I'm going to play a Bloodstained Mire, sacrifice it immediately, finding a Volcanic Island, playing Mana Crypt, tapping this, and Rhystic Study. And with the Magic Rhystic Study in play, I will pass.
Go to my turn. Land for turn will be a Exotic Orchard. I will tap it for a Mana Vault, not paying for a stick. And then I pass turn.
Let's draw a card. Okay, that's a cool card to draw. I'm gonna play this Volcanic Island because we're just in Volcanic Island land right now. And then I'll play my own Mana Crypt that I might have just drawn for turn. And I'm going to pay for Rhystic Study. And then I'm going to tap this Mana Crypt for a Mana Vault. And I'm going to pay for Rhystic Study. And then I'm going to pass my turn.
I'm proud of you, paying your taxes.
Take my turn. Draw. City of Brass. Chromox. Not paying for Rhystic Study. I'm imprinting Mystics' Mastery. Or exiling that. Dockside. Not paying for Rhystic. Alright, Dockside resolves. Sweet. Let's make 5 treasures. Alright, I've got to be like my brethren because I've never done this on a channel, so I'm going to go down to 2 treasures, making 3 red, and cast Wheel of Misfortune. And I will pay for this Rhystic Study. Wheel of Misfortune resolves, so now we get to secretly choose a number between 0 or greater, then all players reveal those numbers simultaneously and determine the highest or lowest numbers revealed this way. Okay. Alright, so Mons is 0, Pontus is 0, Susuke is 11, and I am 5. And so the results are Mons does not wheel, Pontus does not wheel, I do wheel, and Susuke takes 11 and also wheels. And with that, 7 cards in hand as you see, I will pass the turn.
Untap, draw a card, heads is damage, that's heads, I take 3 from the mana vault. I'm going to play a Wooded Foothills, sacrifice it, finding a Taiga, casting Chromox, imprinting delayed blast fireball, casting Mox Opal. Then we're going to cast our commander, loot the key to everything. And from here I'm setting up pretty nice with Rhystic Study, lots of mana, commander value, and I'm hoping that this will develop into more win cons with more card draw. Passing turn.
Go to my turn. And to quote my very good friend, Dockside win. Using one of the colorless floating to pay for Rhystic. So Dockside will need to be, Rhystic doesn't crack a treasure, so I will make 7 treasures. I will crack a treasure, use my last colorless floating to cast a Magda. Not paying for Rhystic Study.
I don't personally like to use this to find interaction, but I think you will be able to find Bola Citadel with that Magda and those 6 treasures that you have. So I'm gonna cast Intuition targeting the other team. Let's go Snuske. So I'm finding Liza Diamond, Force of Will, and Brain Freeze. Can you please give me the Force of Will here, my friend?
You can have LED. I'm just kidding. You can have a force.
Thank you. Now sadly I also have to pitch Flusterstorm to this, as Flusterstorm does not counter Magda, but I can pitch it to Force.
No response. Magda is countered. I will spend one of my treasures to cast a Reanimate targeting Magda in my graveyard. Not paying for Rhystic Study.
I've pitched Flusterstorm to this. I have nothing, guys.
All right, my turn. I will sack a treasure and cast an offer you can't refuse on your Reanimate. Not pay for Rhystic.
My Reanimate gets countered and I make 2 more treasures. I'll pay 3 mana to cast the Bergie. Not paying for Rhystic. I'll spend 2 treasures to cast a Wishclaw Talisman. Trigger Bergie. Not paying for Rhystic. So Bergie trigger resolves, I'll make you red, and Wishclaw will resolve and enter with 3 counters. I'll use the red floating and activate Wishclaw Talisman. So currently I think I need to respect the Dockside threat, so I'm giving the Wishclaw to the one person who has already cast their Dockside. Rhetoric, you can have this Wishclaw. I'll find this card, and then I will spend my 2 last treasures to cast a Altar of Dementia, triggering Bergie. Not paying for Rhystic Study.
I promise that I did not draw into an interaction. I have 9 cards in hand, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are lands, and the remaining are ramp. I'm not kidding. I don't have anything, guys.
Well, Pontus, you tried to... Well, you did give me the wish, but I still have to do something about it. I'm going to Mind Breed Trap. Not paying for Rhystic.
Why are you making us lose to Mons? This is king making.
That's not... That's not... No. Letting you win is also king making.
I know, that's the joke. Yeah, that's very sad. Above average amount of interaction here. But yeah, it's Exile being the worst card in the deck to exile. And I'll make a red mana. I'll use that red mana to cast a Dargo, sacrificing Mana Vault. Not paying for Rhystic because I can't, because the Bergie resolves after Rhystic. But then I pass.
So after just 1 hour of playing, I get a turn 2. Let's roll for Crypt. Evens. I'm golden. It's a 1. I take... And then I draw a card. There are a few outs in this deck right now that just let me win the game on the spot, so let's see if we get one of them. I don't think that's one of them. No, I need colored mana. Okay, we're gonna start off by playing this Bloodstained Mire and cracking it for taking 1. We're gonna go find a Steam Vents, chuck it in, time to feed Mons, and cast our Commander, Stella Lee wildcard to cast a Soul Ring. You can draw for this one as well. And I have a Stella Lee trigger. I will exile off the top of my library a Shatter Skull Smashing. Not very exciting. I believe I can play this as a land next turn. We're gonna tap 5, floating 1, casting the 1 ring. I will simply be passing here.
Alright, untap and draw. I'll start off with a Marsh Flats, Pay Life, Fetch, Underground Sea. We will start with this Dark Ritual, not paying for Rhystic.
I did not draw into a mental misstep.
I will use 1 black to exile Talisman, and I'll give it back to Pontus. And then I will use this blue to cast Chain of Vapor, targeting my own Dockside, not paying for Rhystic.
Uh-oh, I did not draw a mental misstep. Carry on.
Chain of Vapor resolves, and I will pick up Dockside. I was tempted to do Ristic Study because Mons is still drawing cards, but I don't think it's advantageous at this point. So I am going to sack this land and target my own Chrome Mox, but before that, I will tap it for a red. Then I will use the rest of the mana that I have floating, black and red, to cast Dockside, not pay for Ristic.
I drew into an answer. I don't like using it, but we are saving the day. Pact of Negation on the Dockside Extortionist.
Wah. Thwarted, that's the word we use here on the channel. I will put a Chrome Mox back into play and exile this Professional Facebreaker, and then I will use that to cast a Demonic Tutor. I don't pay for either Ristic Study triggers. Okay, I have a card in my hand, and go ahead, Mons.
I'm gonna untap everything I have. We're going to pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, and then we're rolling for Mana Crypt. Heads is damage, we take damage. Pact of Negation was annoying, expensive. We draw a card. And then we're going to trigger Loot. It actually happens before the draw, but so we are exiling Soul Ring and Veil of Summer, and then we're drawing a card for turn. Land drop will be a command tower. We're going to play a Mox Diamond, pitching an Exotic Orchard to the graveyard. Blue, a Flesh Duplicate. I'm gonna move these spells a little bit to the side. Flesh Duplicate will become a Dockside Extortionist, generating a total of 5 treasures. 6 treasures actually. Gonna sacrifice 1 treasure to cast a Soul Ring. Tap Soul Ring, floating a colorless to cast a Mana Vault. Tapping this, floating 3 more colorless. Using 2 treasures and 2 colorless to cast a Temur Sabertooth. I'm going to use 1 colorless, 1 treasure to target my Flesh Duplicate, trying to return it back to my hand with my Temur Sabertooth. I'm going to sacrifice 2 treasures to recast the Flesh Duplicate. This, in theory, will create an infinite loop with Temur Sabertooth and Flesh Duplicate, as I'm generating 6 treasures, consuming 4, making 2 in the process, or netting +2, going infinite treasures.
Worth a shot anyways. I will pitch Cyclonic Rift, paying a life, and cast Force of Will on Flesh Duplicate.
And I will respond with my last mana here from Taiga, 1 green to Veil of Summer, that I flipped from my loot. So once I've generated infinite treasures, I'm going to cast Etali, and Etali together with Temur Sabertooth.
There's a world where it doesn't,
Infinite,
but probably.
where I basically cast all decks, more or less, and I win through some form of shenanigans in some form of cool finishing way. Also, I can use Gamble to tutor for Underworld Breach, and if I accidentally discard Underworld Breach, I can get it back with Colossal Sky Turtle. So I have multiple ways of potentially scoring a victory here. In any case, GG's! Temur wins! With the cutest loot ever! Now, Snuska has protection from everything, but there's lots of different works around against that. Because once I basically cast everything with Etali, I could just pass turn and they die in their upkeep. Or I find some cool ways to do cool things with their cards. For example, I could find a Thassa's Oracle, and I bounce my Flesh Duplicate, making it a copy of Thassa's Oracle once my deck is empty, and I win that way. So the One Ring is not a saving grace right now. So game is over, Dockside was great, everyone got to cast a Dockside, right? No.
Yes, everyone got to cast the Dockside.
But no, Mons, you never casted the Dockside.
Oh, that's true. I never.
Why are you lying?
I cost. That's true. Snusky, I'm with you on this one.
Yeah. Rewind. Only Dockside players get to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where were your Dockside?
I mean, I don't know, somewhere in the deck.
So Ristic Study was great in this game. I was tapped out when I had it in play. I did get to use an intuition to interact with Pontus, but Rhetoric helped out a lot too to make sure that Pontus didn't win. And through the entire turn cycle of people attempting to win, Ristic Study did get fed, and in true luck, I did draw into a Pact of Negation on the Dockside, and if I wouldn't have been able to do that, I think Rhetoric would have won this game. Ristic Study did a good job.
Yeah, some people like to argue that you shouldn't feed Ristic Studies or don't feed the fish and all of that. But I think both me and Rhetoric was completely correct in just shoving. There wasn't that much interaction shown. Monster stepped out of the Ristic, which means he has 3 live draws in the whole deck. Those are really good places to shove. Going under Ristic Study is usually almost better than trying to outgrind them by playing slow. Because then you're playing into their game plan.
To be fair, I did pass with Mana Crypt and a land untapped. It was just that your Magda couldn't be touched by my Flusterstorm.
Yeah, but I had 3 spells that need to be countered in one turn.
Yeah, you did.
I think
You did.
So that's something I feel safe about playing into 2 tapped out players and 1 resisted player with 2 mana. That represents 1 counterspell, which it was 1 intuition for force instead of 1 Flusterstorm. That's just 1 counterspell either way. That hand was really busted, but that hand into that mana available, that's just a shove hand. You just shove and you usually get there.
Yeah, Rhetoric accidentally.
I think this game.
No, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I think this, at least this pod, but in several ways I've seen, it doesn't reward playing slow or playing safe. Just jam it and see what happens. I mean, we've seen pot games in this pod before where somebody draws 10 cards from Ristic Study and doesn't hit any interaction, so it's worth the risk, I think.
Yeah.
I want to remind people that I once hit Pingmeister Pong and won against him while he had 66 cards in his hand. Sometimes you just don't have enough.
Yeah,
just to get that in there.
I think I currently have around 6 lands in this current hand, so 15 cards and half of them are lands. Any case, guys, hope you enjoyed this match. We're playtesting some new commanders, and we will be back as normal next week. Until then, take care! Bye!
Bye-bye.